Rich Wyatt on the throttle is doing an excellent job today. Herbie Stotler on the wheel, got it straight in control. The engine builder at the wheel seems to know what he's doing. It's a 40-foot fountain with Mercury number 6 drives and Herb Stotler racing engines, and they're just way ahead of the pack today. Out in front, first overall. Southward down Miami Beach. Here's another replay of the little hook in the first turn, and you can see Bacardi go by on the outside. On to Bacardi Silver now. Dave Scott and John Tomlinson in this beautiful 46-foot skater. Always one of the boats to beat in the Superboat class. There's a beautiful top shot of the Firewater 40-foot fountain V-bottom, trying to play catch-up after holding the lead early in the race. Now Bacardi Silver's moved to the lead, taking the first place overall race away from Team Firewater. Rough water today here off Miami Beach, but the boats are still running strong in the big water. Rich Wyatt and Herb Stotler still running strong in this 40-foot fountain V-bottom powered by Stotler racing engines with the Mercury number 6 drives. Trying to play catch-up after holding the lead early on. Bacardi Silver's gotten by him to the first place overall. Still pretty impressed to see this V-bottom with 750 horsepower engines keeping up in this rough water. Back onto Bacardi Silver, Dave Scott and John Tomlinson eating the rough water up. 46-foot skater, twin 1,400 horsepower Sterling engines with Arneson surface drives. This boat has a rudder on it, steers with the rudder, unlike the turning number 6 drives. This boat's always one of the ones to beat. Was the world and national champion last year in Superboat class and world champion also in APBA. We're here today off Miami Beach in the SBI Superboat class. Callan Marine did not make the start, so they're running out by themselves today in Superboat class, but still putting on a show for the fans and putting on a show for Superboat International. Peter Meyer eating up the rough water. Look at them go through it. These guys have been doing it for 20-something years and aren't stopping now. Still ahead of the class in Super V Limited with the 525 Mercuries in the boat. Running very strong ahead of Miccosukee Indian Gaming, the Fountain Mercury boat of Knight Osley, and the Rodriguez Group Fountain also. But this is the old Dragon Lady boat with the number 6s on it, running strong as ever here in Miami Beach. Peter Meyer and Joe Stroh aboard the boat do an excellent job on the water. On the land, I know they have Joe DeMola and Jerry Haney that take care of a lot of the on-land boat maintenance. Jerry Haney always doing a great job. Look at that hatch. It looks like it's starting to shake loose there. Hopefully that'll hang on, but this rough water is going to take its toll on the boats today. These guys up, but still running in the front of the pack. Bruggeman, the crew chief, did all the rigging on the boat. Beautiful 40-foot motion. Running strong here today, unopposed in the Superboat Limited class. Miami Beach on their backdrop. What a beautiful sight. Beautiful color water, even if rough it is. Jay Muller and Stan Petrosky running well in the rough waters off Miami Beach. Moving now to the 38 Fountain, Brett Frishman and Todd Easton aboard. This is the Miccosukee Indian Gaming boat, the number 30. They've still got last year's Mercury 525s in the boat. I'm sorry, make that Vortec 550s in the boat. This boat is owned by Bad Apple Racing out of Coral Springs, Florida. Brett Frishman on the wheel, Todd Easton on the throttles, running strong here in Miami at the middle parts of the race. Moving on to some of the stock class action, Bermuda Barracuda and Mape have a little battle going on here. Gary Ballou and Mike Mayhes aboard the Mape boat. This is a 32-foot Doug Wright design, built and designed by Doug Wright, powered by twin Mercury 280 horse 2.5 EFI motors. Mape Cito are the sponsors. Mape is a new adhesives company based out of Boca Raton. Cito, everybody knows, that's what you want to have when you're out boating. Last year's national and world champions, the Mape team of Gary Ballou and Mike Mayhes, doing well here in the rough waters off Miami. Big swells heading through the turn at the south end of the course. You can see Bermuda Barracuda having trouble in the big swells as well. These 30-foot and 32-foot cats are eating it up, though. This team for the past few years has pretty much been untouchable when it came to big rough water races like this. Unless something happened and the motors broke, they were unbeatable. Still showing that dominance here today. Gary Ballou and Mike Mayhe still out front right now. Eating up the rough water, still hot on their tails, is Chris Marshall and Dennis Barry and Gary's old boat, now the Bermuda Barracuda, but originally was the Blondie boat. Heading back to Instigator, looks like we got big problems here. National Marine, the number 11 entry, missing a hatch, still running first in class. And if you count there's only 3 headers, but there's 2 engines, 2 headers per engine. They got one header laying down in the bilge. You can see it laying there. Boat's still running with the header laying in the bilge. The boat's still first in class. Joe Stroh, Peter Meyer beating their equipment still out front here in Miami Beach. Back now with the Super V limited classes is Muscle Racing number 50, running the VL50, the 42-foot fountain. You see Catalan going by on the outside in the Superboat unlimited class. Muscle Racing, a 42-foot fountain with Mercury Racing 525 engines with a number 6 drive. Diamond Dave Branch, your throttle man. Dr. K, Bruce Kruglich, your driver. Special Discovery Channel TV program being filmed about the guys here this weekend. Drew a new dimension to spectators here in boat racing. Diamond Dave, always the character, running strong here in the V limited class, coming off the big win in Sarasota in their hometown. Always throws the great party, threw another great one in Sarasota for the 4th of July races this year. Dave Branch and Bruce Kruglich in Muscle Racing. Team Taboos run strong all year and put together the national championships in SBI for the P3 class. Your national champion, Team Taboo, P3-1. The diesel-powered fountain with the Arneson drives. You can hear the turbos hum on the diesels. Listen in. Back to our aerial shot. Team Taboo doesn't even look like it's quite bouncing around as much as it does from the onboard camera. Running well in the beginning of the race here in Deerfield Beach. P3 starting with the Super Stock class. Some other P3 boats there. The Fortress is right in the middle of your screen. It's a little 30-foot Phantom. Tyler Crockett and Mark Slater aboard out of Michigan. Focusing on now, that's Applegate Construction S111. Entry in the Super Stock class. You can see Oceans 2, 3, 4 in the Super Stock class, as well as Racing Frenzy right there. Just ahead of them is Bermuda Barracuda, one of the national championship contenders in Super Stock class. But out front so far in Super Stock is the Hulk and Mappe. Heading south now on Deerfield Beach towards the first turn. Great racing early on here at the national championships. Deep V Cats, beautiful 32-foot LA Marine. The owner and builder is Lee Austin and the driver is Steve Quick. Focusing now on Racing Frenzy, it's a 30-foot AMT driven by Grant Bruggeman of Grant's Custom Rigging, who also rigged the boat, throttled by Brian Hupt out of Missouri. Here's your battle early on in stock class for the national championship, the Hulk and Mappe. Just behind them is Bermuda Barracuda, who's also involved in the battle for the national championship, a three-way battle, with the winner taking home the national championship. Bermuda Barracuda, all the way from Bermuda, the boat stays in Illinois. Dennis Berry out of Morrow, Illinois, your throttle man. He takes care of the boat, the rigging, and the engines. Your driver's Chris Marshall from Bermuda. Beautiful 30-foot AMT, the original AMT, formerly Blondie, and then Miccosukee Indian Gaming, the Aqua Toy Store, and now Barracuda. Beautiful paint job out of the St. Louis area. S19 Bermuda Barracuda. 1997. It's your national champion from last year and your world champion. It's powered by a Crockett Marine engine built by the throttle man Tyler Crockett. Also sponsored by DMC Machine, Buffalo Wild Wings, and Bearing Cast. The single 850 horsepower Crockett engine is through a Speedmaster number 5 drive. Tyler Crockett, your throttleman's from Ruby, Michigan. Mark Slater, your driver, is from Waterford. The crew consists of Mark Matthews from Detroit and Bruce Barron from Oxford, Michigan. The APBA National Championship race. The north end of the course here by Boca Inlet, very rough, very bumpy. Running along Deerfield Beach, now heading south. Keene University always runs strong. Quite the bumpy ride, a little bit different setup for a Pantera V-bottom like this to be sitting down in it, but these guys got a pretty good ride going. Oh my God! There went the navigator there. That was Monty Palma getting thrown out of his seat, and then you see him standing there, and he falls back into the cabin. What a wild ride that would be. P512 Keene University Cougars, Monty Palma going for quite the ride into the cabin right here. There you see it again in normal vision. Not the ride you want to take during a boat race. You usually don't want to try to get in the cabin in the middle of a race. Looks like we have a green flag already. Quick jump out to the start early on. Mark House and James Shade in the Showtime beautiful 36-foot skater with Mercruiser 525 racing engines with the Bravo drive. Right beside them, though, quickly playing catch-up, Rio Roses in the Super Boat D-bottom category. All the way on the inside, Callan Marine. John Cox